and we can start having some self-compassion for ourselves, acknowledging what we have gone through these past 2 years and what you may still be going through, and giving yourself a hug and saying, it's okay if you don't have all of the energy and all the motivation in the world. But there are resources and there are tools out there like Movecamp that can help you put one foot in front of the other and can teach you how you can move for 10 minutes and let that be the starting point that builds habits for you to create a healthy, active lifestyle.
Hi, Mia.
Hi.
I am super happy you're here.
I'm so grateful to be here. It's so last minute. It was meant to be serendipitous.
Everything I do is last minute, and it did. It worked out really, really well. So backstory, I've been following Mia for a little while. She's in Ottawa and she owns a company called Movecamp. And the other day we chatted and I said, I don't know if you were following me or I was following you. And we had this great conversation. And then 10 minutes later, she started following me and I realized, no, I was definitely following you. You were not following me first. I was your follower for the last bit. But I also talked to my best friends and I said, hey, you guys should check out this girl, Mia. This is what she's doing. And they were like, oh, we already follow her. So there you go.
I love that. That makes my heart so happy every time. Thank you for sharing that.
You have created such a beautiful community. So I'm going to give you the floor. I'm just making sure we're streaming in the right spot. If anybody sees this, are we on the Slate page? Because we accidentally did the interview with Colin.
I saw that you guys are. I can
see
that
on the Slate page.
Are.
Hey, okay. It's not showing up for me. So I'm going to give you the floor so you can introduce yourself and tell everybody what it is you do, all the beautiful work that you do, which I can't wait to talk about.
Yeah, thank you. I am the CEO and founder of a not-for-profit, which is one of the reasons I fell in love with you, is I feel like we share that same desire to give back from a place of passion. And, I think that everybody has a story, and what has brought a lot of people I know to their places of passion and their desire to give back is from their own trauma and challenging experiences, and then being able to rise above that and share and give back. I think those are the best types of people to be able to give advice, because you've lived it, you've been through it. So it'll be 8 years ago this summer that we started these free lunchtime events up on Parliament Hill. It's been this beautiful community project where we give back and focus on the health of Canadians. So our mission is to move 1 million Canadians, help to make Canada the fittest nation on earth. And we do this through free lunchtime movement sessions, collaboration with coaches across the country who donate their time to make sure that Canadians are moving, that they are learning about who it is that they can work with, that they're providing the education of what it is that you need to actually do to take care of your health versus just recommending we all walk 10,000 steps a day. We're partnered with some of the top wellness brands in the country. We're partnered with the University of Ottawa Heart Institute Foundation. So we're very, very big on education. And we also run a corporate health program that brings health and wellness and movement and education into the office. So this is all virtual right now, but we dabble in back and forth in person whenever we can, and we will absolutely be back in person this summer. But it's just one giant movement that came from a major place of passion in my life for health and fitness, and excited.
So on the COVID move, or the COVID in-person thing, how I'm going to ask you, because you seem to be such an extroverted person and so energetic, and being that myself, I need to be around people to be built back up. How did you find it for you? How do you show up every day to motivate people through a screen? And how hard was that for you to adjust to that reality?
I cried a lot in the first year. I think I was saying to one of my mentors the other day, it's taken me about 2 years to finally accept what's gone on. And I was talking to my partner about this the other day, about just accepting and being okay and normalizing that it's okay to not be okay right now. It was like I was mourning a death. We had been on the pinnacle, maybe not the top of the mountain, but definitely a peak. We had expanded across the country. We had done events at Nathan Phillips Square, downtown Toronto and downtown Montreal. And it was just incredible, in-person conferences. And so I had, our 5-year plan and our focus of what we were going to be doing. And to have to accept that world was no longer, it genuinely took me 2 years. But like everything else, there's been some incredible silver linings and some major opportunities that have come out of it. But it was, I think the biggest thing is that I just didn't fake it, right? Especially with my team and with our community. It was hard, and we were going to say it was hard, and it didn't mean that we weren't trying, or that we weren't trying to see the opportunities and moving through all of those experiences. But yeah, I didn't fake it, and it sucked.
Sucked. And I actually appreciate that so much, because as somebody who prides themselves on being really vulnerable, and to me, that's a comfortable place to be. I know it's not comfortable for everybody to be vulnerable,
Yeah.
but I think showing the reality of this is hard. And essentially, and this is kind of what connected us too, is grief. Like it's grief. Everybody is grieving right now. I'm sure I'm grieving the loss of my parents. I will get to this in a second, but Mia's mom is sick right now, and she's a caregiver for her mom, and she's grieving the normalcy of that. But we are all grieving our pre-COVID life. We are all grieving in some aspect. So I'm very happy that you can talk about that so openly and in such a real way.
I think it's important. I was even having a conversation with a close girlfriend of mine the other day who owns a business too, and normalizing calling it mental health. Like my mental health is however it is for that day. My mental health has not been that great, or my mental health is on the ups, and just normalizing calling it that instead of just having this mindset, or I'm just having a bad day, or I just need to pull up my socks, or just need to get motivated a little bit more. It's okay to accept the fact that it's been incredibly hard. And just because we might be moving out of lockdowns and the world might be changing doesn't mean that it's all over for you. Doesn't mean that you don't have things to mourn. Exactly like you said, grief. And it's not a linear process, right? Any kind of grief is a roller coaster. It's up and down every day.
Absolutely. Which can make you feel like you're having mental health struggles all in itself. Mm-hmm. There's times where I thought of my bipolar, like, is there more going on here? Because one day I'm so up and the next day I'm on the floor crying again. And So talk to us about how has your journey through fitness and nutrition, how has that contributed to maintaining your own mental health, and why is that so important for people?
I think it's been that, and it's also been all-encompassing health practices. So a lot of my spirituality and mental health practices like meditation and journaling and reading have played a pivotal role in making sure that I am still functioning, I am still running my business, I am still able to be a partner and a daughter and a friend. But I think really, I said to my friends multiple times that these experiences have had me to force me to dig deep and use every single one of the tools in my toolbox to make sure that we continue to make it to the other side. So for me, that actually looked like a lot less movement and a lot more walking. So a lot less working out and a lot more walking. I found, because I was so stressed and hypervigilant, and during the day, I'm sure everybody can relate to this, you're on edge. It's a hyper sense of activity. So you're constantly looking for the next thing to solve and pivoting and finding the next project and adjusting, and you're always fixing things. So instead of just having regular normal day life, we were always trying to figure out and fix new things. And so that is incredibly draining. And on the nervous system, on your cortisol levels are firing all day long instead of having this natural ebb and flow. So to add on rigorous exercise to that just was not what my body was calling for, because I was exhausted, which I'm sure a lot of people can relate to. So being outside, being in nature, and leaning into my meditation practices were the things that really made the difference, like really made sure that I had some sort of mental capacity to continue managing the ups and downs of what's been going on. And that's evolved now that I've got a lot more energy and I'm feeling a lot better. So I'm really excited for my workouts and taking on new goals and new endeavors. But it was giving myself permission to not do and getting outside. Definitely made a difference.
Gave a lot of people permission, or made them really, really happy, because I know, I'm just looking at some comments. I know that people get so overwhelmed and it feels like such a mountain to climb, when in your mind you think, totally, I have to get to a gym or go to my basement or go wherever and lift weights, and I don't know what I'm doing. And that just can feel insurmountable. But for you to have just said, don't just do a walk, do something calm, do a meditation. is, I think, going to be a highlight to everybody's weekend.
I'm glad it gives permission. That's literally what I say all the time. I say, throw out what you see in mainstream media in regards to health and fitness. Like, literally ignore it and tune in and turn all of that energy inside and ask your body, how are you feeling and what do you need? You always know all of the answers that you need are inside of you already. So if you just take the time to get quiet and ask yourself, and then step 2 is practice non-judgment. If your body says I need a nap, or it says I need to just take a rest day, or I need some fresh air, without judgment, going and doing those things instead of saying, well, yeah, but I'm supposed to be working out, or yeah, but it's supposed to be my leg day, or whatever that insert supposed to be. The more that we tune in and listen to our bodies, the better we feel, the more motivated we feel, the more we're actually going to want to continue doing the things that will keep us healthy instead of what we quote unquote should be doing.
I'm so happy we're having this conversation, because I'm even guilty of, oh my God, I missed hockey that day, or we don't have a game, something really rigorous. And then I guilt myself. And I think so many of us do this as, I skipped my leg day. I missed my heavy weight day. When really I was ignoring everything. I probably missed it because my body was screaming at me, and therefore created a reality where I couldn't get to do that for whatever reason. Right.
Big time.
I was just going to ask you about, I had a whole train of thought and it just completely went out of my head. We had this really great, it's coming back. We had this really great conversation the other day about, I hate using the term self-care. I think we even talked about that a bit. I wrote a lot about self-care in my book, but we had I thought was a really cool moment where you said you had this beautiful experience where a community created itself around you in regards to caring for your mom back home in Sudbury. And can you just speak on that and what kind of how that contributed to your self-care and how it's there for us? And self-care isn't always something that we need to go book a spa day for.
Yeah. It's, if I wasn't spiritual before, this made me, and I'm not talking about religion. I'm just talking about believing in an energy that supports us, and whatever that looks like for you. And so during this experience, we're going through the pandemic. I'll spare you all the details, but, getting that phone call from my mom had already had cancer. She had breast cancer years ago, and she had multiple surgeries. She is my inspiration for health and fitness. She is the reason that I do what I do. So to get that phone call, I was thankfully with my brother when we found out that she was diagnosed with leukemia, right in the heart of the pandemic, so it was just like this bat to the gut. Like, if you think things are hard now, let me just dish out a little bit more challenging things for you. So my life stabilized very quickly. I was in Calgary at the time. I came back, I packed a suitcase, and I remember messaging with my sister-in-law going, how do you pack for indefinitely? Because I was, we're from Elliott Lake, Ontario. The hospital that she was going to was in Sudbury, and I was moving to Sudbury for however long it took. And I'm incredibly grateful. We talked about this, incredibly grateful. The heavens opened up, and this experience, if it had to happen, happened in the weirdest open space for my mom to get in, to get treatment, to get her transplant, for the restrictions to not be so tight that I could literally go and see her every single day for however long I wanted to. And there was no discussion about it. It was this weird time that just made all of these things possible. So it's so weird, because even though this was the most challenging experience, we were so oddly blessed to have that experience where we were able to participate, in the same way you would in quote unquote normal life. So I moved to Sudbury, and it ended up allowing me to connect with old family friends that grew up across the street from us. And it was just, they say that when trauma happens in your life and there are people who raise their hands, and you watch them and you see them kind of come out of the woodwork, and sometimes it surprises you because you think it will be certain people and then it ends up being other people. That was kind of this experience. My family friends took me in for the whole summer, and I lived with them, and it ended up being this beautiful experience in life where I got to reconnect with them. It was all about family. I was still close enough to home that I could go see my dad in Elliott Lake and, get some reprieve and get some dad love, and then come back to the hospital. but that connection that we were able to have, and it wasn't necessarily because they were there caring for me all day long, but when I would come back to from the hospital at the end of the day, we would have dinner as a family. They have two little girls. My her brother is one of my oldest friends in the entire world. He would come home over with his wife and his kids, and it would just create this sense of normalcy, that life was still going on around us, and that everything in some twisted way was going to be okay eventually. Whatever that looked like was going to be a new normal. But we would have saunas, and they lived on this beautiful house on the lake, and it allowed me to stay grounded in what really matters, in love, and to have hope that no matter what, things were going to eventually be okay. And so that, coupled with friendships and love from other areas of my life, my partner, some of my closest friends that would just call constantly, that would be my walking buddies when I would go for a walk. I need somebody to talk to. And I think allowing that experience to happen, just being open and literally just visualizing yourself falling back into surrendering, and not necessarily acceptance right away, because I think that takes time, but surrendering into what's happening and allow some of the beauty to unfold around you. It sounds so challenging at the time, but it is what I believe is what got me through it, and what saved me, and what enables me to look back now and say that was kind of a beautiful time in life, which is just such an oxymoron, but it was.
It's an oxymoron, but it's not at the same time, because I think it just shows that joy can exist where pain exists. There can be both. These things do not have to be mutually exclusive. Like I would come home from the hardest days imaginable, to where I thought, I just want to go home and curl up in my bed and not leave, if not die. Quite honestly, on some occasions, I would even think that, like, maybe I just don't want to do this anymore. And that would be my thought process, like ugly crying on my way home. And then I'd get home, and I remember one day coming home, there's this little bag hanging on my front door. Don't know to this day who left this here. I had no idea. And it had like 3 candy canes in it. It was, December. It had 3 candy canes in it and a $20 gift card for somewhere. The candy canes were for the kids. And just that tiny, anonymous, itty bitty thing was enough for me to think, like, okay, no, I can do that. I can keep doing this, because strangers, people in my life, people out of my life, were showing up and creating this community around me. And when you talked about that the other day, I just thought that was so powerful and beautiful. And I know that's a big part of what you guys do with Movecamp, is creating these communities for people, whether they're caregivers or cancer fighters or whatever, stressed out moms. It's a place for people to go. So how important has that been for you to keep driving what you're doing? Like, it must be very rewarding to be able to offer that space for people doing what you love.
Yeah, it's beyond. Like, I always say, everybody has a burning passion in their gut. Follow through on that. Like, in whatever means possible, whatever it is that you have to do that. Like, I even see the way that you speak about what you do and the passion that you have. Like, this is what you are meant to do. And it shows. And if everybody could just like move from within and do that, it's the life that you live, and the reward that you get from that is priceless. Like, it's just, we were talking yesterday, we had a Movecamp event, and we have a coach group chat, and some of the coaches afterwards are saying, I was having such a blah day, and the energy and the camaraderie and the connection right after the workout. And I mean, there was countless times, right? I had to keep showing up to Movecamp at our events throughout that whole time. I would sometimes turn my camera off because I just, I couldn't be there. But seeing everybody and knowing that there was some light somewhere on the other side of this, it, like, some days were harder than others, but it definitely kept me going. And I think the point of community is to know that it is accessible to you whenever you want to connect with other people. And that doesn't mean that you have to show up this most vibrant, happy, excited version of yourself. You can just continue to show up exactly how you are, wherever you're at, and know that you will be supported. And I know that for us, it's a community movement session, a workout for however you're feeling that day. And it's not, you don't necessarily have these big open discussions, but it's just an opportunity for you to even let it move through you, whatever it is that you're going through, move in a way that makes sense for you, show up to an event, move your body, see some of your friends, just the energy of seeing other people's faces, of just saying hi, of giving a virtual high five, it really does wonders. And you don't have to have expectations around it, but just continuing to connect with other people. I mean, it's what we need. And I think it's what was so challenging during these last 2 years in general, is that we weren't able to do that. But being around community, being able to build community is what kept me grounded to be able to have those ugly cry moments like you're talking about, like where you just want to crawl out of your skin. It hurts so much. And then you somehow peel yourself up off the floor and you keep moving, and it keeps you grounded in your practices and doing the little things every day that you know will help you make you put one foot in front of the other, and just knowing you have something else to turn back to. And even if it's for a moment, you can, for a half second, forget about it and have some sense of normalcy, and giving that to yourself, giving yourself permission to let that be okay, to let yourself put it in the back of your mind for a hot minute, even though it might not last very long. But I just think it's everything. And it is a huge honor and a pleasure to be able to facilitate these communities.
And I want to get into these community events and the different things you guys offer, but I want to ask you and touch on this quickly because you just said it. A lot of people in the mental health crisis that we're all living in right now might be watching this thinking, well, what are these little things? I don't have a little thing that I can do every day. And so I'll give 3, you give 3.
Okay.
Okay.
First? Yes. So I find journaling and meditating to be the most healing medicines out there, and then reading. So I start with journaling because it just enables you to get all of those thoughts out of your head and onto paper, and then just out. And I'm talking like the deepest of the darkest of thoughts, like everything you have, the deepest fears that you have about the situation that you're going through. It just gets it out, and you can continue to do these practices with non-judgment. There's no goal, there's no end result. It's compounding. Doing these things every single day continues to support you in whatever it is that you're going through. Meditating, I find, just like right next to journaling, it gives you permission to just be in whatever experience that you're in, and just ask for help, ask for guidance. Doesn't matter who you're talking to. Doesn't matter even if you believe it. It's just putting that energy out there and just sitting in it. There are countless times where I would just sit there and I would just sob. And then there was this slight little shift after every single time. It would just give me just enough strength, just enough energy to get dressed, to go to the hospital, and to be the type of support I knew I wanted to be for my mom. Not what she was expecting of me, but what I knew I wanted to and I could deliver to her. So being able to calm your nervous system down and putting yourself in this state of surrender, it feels scary. I can genuinely attest to that and relate to that, because you feel like you're just going to unravel. But being able to be in that quiet space, it really, really does center you and continues to show you what it is that you are capable of, and that you are supported and that you are being guided. And then lastly, any books that you have, I have a countless running list of books I recommend, but they are beautiful pieces of medicine that you can take with you anywhere, and you can set up your little practice no matter where you go. It can be in your living room. It was on my friend's patio outside in the morning. Everybody was sleeping. I would get up at the crack of dawn just so that I could do this, be outside, the sun was rising. It was my little moment of hope. And I know for a fact, because I started these practices years ago, that it has changed my life. And if you feel like you don't know what you're leaning into right now, and you don't know what tools you have, or you feel hopeless, this is something that you can grip onto, and actually a practice that you can do every single day.
What are you reading? Not like specifically the book right now, but what is your genre?
Spirituality, I guess. Like it's like law of attraction, and so authors like Gabby Bernstein and Marianne Williamson that just talk about leaning into fear versus leaning into love. and that practice of how to do that,
Spirituality, personal development.
Yes. Yes.
Kind
yes,
of a
yes,
world. Yes. Okay. Amazing. Sorry,
jam.
someone is messaging. Okay. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing questions for you. I love that. I actually do. I read every single night, but I've had to be very careful. I don't know if anyone can relate to this, but I was reading a lot of personal development books at night and then not sleeping because my brain was going crazy with like, I gotta meditate myself to sleep and I have to do this.
Yeah.
So I strictly read fiction at night and then I strictly read, personal. Okay, so really quickly, here's mine. So drink water. Everybody drink water. Go get a glass of water as soon as you're done watching this. This is a huge thing for me in going through this, trudging through this hell of caring for both parents and waking up one day and realizing I was so terribly dehydrated that I threw back 2 big glasses of water like this. And ever since that day, it felt like in that time, I had this little bit of control over something. Right? Like I couldn't control what was going to happen to my mom, what the next hospital visit was going to bring, what news was coming that day, but I could fill my damn water bottle and I could bring that to the hospital. And that was like one thing when it felt like everything was spiraling that I could hold on to. And for a million other reasons, just drink water.
Yeah.
But that's one of my like everyday little steps. I have to at least make sure I'm doing that. I'm going to say hug people. I know we're living in a COVID time, but get as many hugs as you can. I feel like that's a good, just the connection of that. I wrote down so many, but I'm going to jump to music and just say that highly recommend making yourself like an empowerment playlist or a raise your vibe playlist. A friend of mine has like a raise your frequency playlist that she promotes. And I think that's such a great idea because that has taken me from the lowest of lows, and literally like picked me back up and put me on my feet. Usually still puffy-eyed and burning, but at least it's got me back up like, right, I can do this. I can keep going. So
I love that.
Yeah, it's easy. It's easy and it's free. Yeah. We have so many areas we can go, and I know we're limited on time, so I want to make sure you get to talk about the things you want to talk about. I want you to tell everybody about the events that you do and how to connect. And then anything else you wanted to say around caregiving, or I know Mia's doing a whole bunch of lobbying and advocating against hospitals for the food that they serve, because guys, it's junk. Like it's literal junk. It's terrible. It's abysmal. It shouldn't be happening. I've seen it firsthand, obviously. Many of us have. She has a really great story on her Instagram highlights about the Thanksgiving dinner that her mother was served at the hospital here in Ottawa I won't name it, but here in Ottawa. So I'm going to give you a few minutes to touch on anything that we may have missed that you really want to make sure we get to say and you get your message out there.
Oh my gosh, there's so many areas. Sorry. I think one thing that came to my mind is that my mom used to say definitely best medicine is a hug a day. And I couldn't disagree. Like she would always say that you need to get at least 1 hug a day. So I agree with you on that. Amazing. I will also say like some form of healthy type of numbing. Like I was also very into I would throw a show on and I would just live in the show. So also at the same time, don't feel like you constantly have to be bettering yourself. You can also just numb the flip out so that you can just give yourself a second or an hour to stop thinking about everything that's happening.
What a good fiction book does, right? I love that. A show, a good fiction. A friend who's watching right now, actually, we were chatting yesterday and we were talking about reading and she asked what I read. And she said, I'm a movie person. I get lost in movies. I'm like, cool. That was like whatever. I like that you just use that word healthy numbing. As opposed to some of the wine-induced numbing I did when I was
100%
going through that.
And it can be sometimes unavoidable, but like we all know that that's just going to make you feel worse after, right? Like if you're reading a good book that's fiction, that's about like love, and that's not going to make you feel worse after. So just be mindful of it. I'm sure, it can be very hard. So I empathize. I very, very much empathize. I think the main takeaway and the main lesson with all of this is it will change you. It's a guarantee. If you are taking care of a parent or you're experiencing this with a loved one, no matter what the circumstances, it will change you. So let it change you for the better. Just let it move you and let it be a guiding light in whatever it is that the rest of your life looks like and whatever it is that you take on. I think that's why I became so passionate. I was already passionate about food in hospitals because I already knew they were terrible, but having to live it in an experience, my God, it's awful. So anybody listening, if there are any, we were talking about this yesterday. It's absolutely going to take an army. There are many, many people who doubt that this is even worth attempting, but If you're in it and you've seen it, you can't ignore it if you are any kind of health enthusiast buff. But with my movement and the project, you will see it. Movecamp.ca is where you can learn about it. You can join our free events. Everything is always free. And it is so much more than a lunchtime workout. It is so much more. We added a whole bunch of other event series. It's so much more than the events. It's about the community. It's about getting involved in the community. And then from there, it's about connecting with the coaches, using the resources, the education, the tools, the corporate health programs, wellness programs to create this lifestyle for yourself where you can become the best version of yourself. My organization is all about moving from a place of love versus a place of shame, taking care of yourself from a place of love versus taking care of yourself from a place of shame. So what that looks like is I love myself so much that I'm going to do what I need to do today. I'm going to drink my 2 glasses of water in the morning, and I'm going to high five myself in the mirror because I'm so proud of myself that I did that, because 2 days ago, that wasn't even a thought. And I'm going to be proud of the little wins and the little things I do along the way versus waking up and saying, oh my God, I can't believe I slept in. I'm the worst. I can't believe I ate that pizza last night. I feel like garbage. How could I let myself go this much? Ugh, I need to buy the next program and I need to work out 5 days a week and it needs to be hard and I need to punish myself for the place that I'm at. Can we just get rid of that narrative and throw it out once and for all moving forward? I think we've tried it. I talked to you yesterday about organizations like our National Health and Wellness Program have the same messaging that they had when I was a baby. So I think it's fair enough that we can start throwing that stuff out and we can start having some self-compassion for ourselves, acknowledging what we have gone through these past 2 years and what you may still be going through, and giving yourself a hug and saying, it's okay if you don't have all of the energy and all the motivation in the world. But there are resources and there are tools out there like Movecamp that can help you put one foot in front of the other and can teach you how you can move for 10 minutes and let that be the starting point that builds habits for you to create a healthy, active lifestyle. We're launching a whole bunch of new programs this year. We're really focusing on our corporate health programs to work within different departments and organizations to help them create culture, to help them engage with their staff. And we're very much just about showing you the steps of what you can do to build a healthy, active lifestyle. And that doesn't have to be what it was taught. So, on the outside, looks like a lunchtime workout. Come move with us. We've got an event going on this Saturday with the Heart Institute Foundation. You can sign up for that and move with us. And then from there, you're a part of our community and you'll get access to all the exciting things we have going on this year.
And I think it's so beautiful the way that you said, do this for yourself out of love, move out of love and not out of shame. And I think that is so important that we make that distinction, because we're always doing things out of like a need to fix something. My butt is too jiggly. My stomach is flabby from having 3 babies. My arms are dangling. I've got now pre-diabetes. I'm just trying to throw things out there, but
Exactly.
But I love the idea, and how much more motivating does that feel, and how much better does that feel to come at it just because you love yourself, and there's your self-care, there's your self-love right there.
Definitely.
So
Guys,
I love that message.
Like I would watch my mom, she would come home in between her chemo treatments and I have a photo of her with her cap on, cancer cap, and she'd be lifting weights in the living room because it empowered her, because it motivated her, not because she felt like, any which way about herself. That was the thing that was giving her strength. She was here about a month ago for some follow-up appointments at the hospital, and I have the bike that she gave me because she used to be a triathlete on Team Canada. And she's riding the bike, just moving, reading some things to me about, how to manage through grief. Actually, we were talking about that, but she was just moving her legs. And I cannot tell you, this is just who she is, but the inspiration that provides me, which in turn can allow me to give it to you, is that just move your body. It's like, I don't know that we all have to push ourselves out of our comfort zones every single day. I think we already are out of our comfort zones and we're doing the damn best that we can. So that's what I'll leave it at. Just move, just feel good, and give yourself some self-compassion, some high fives in the mirror, and a flipping hug every single day, because that's what we all need right now.
Yes, you can hug yourself. That's fine too, of course.
Yeah.
I watched a show years ago, and this always stuck with me. And it was the doctors or something, Dr. Oz, something like that. And they had this panelist of guest doctors, physicians on, all in different kind of areas. And they went through, I think there was 5 of them, and they went through and they said, what's the number one piece of advice? Like, if you could give everybody one thing in a box, what would it be? Is it eat green and orange vegetables every day? Is it take, whatever, a multivitamin? And the one I remember, because it's the one that resonated most with me, was this doctor sat there for what seemed like an entire minute, kind of playing this out in his head. And he was like, yeah, it would just be to move. Just move. Oh. And it always just it sank in for me. And I'm as you know, I'm a mover. But that always sank, like it always stayed. And it's, to me, it's been something that these sedentary lifestyles are just they're not okay. They're not cutting it at all. So I appreciate that so much. I just think that that's such a great message that you just said, that even if it means get up, walk to the mirror, give yourself a hug and a high five, and then walk to the damn fridge, get your water, and then put your music on and walk outside. Yeah. But yes, yeah, exactly. And this is just so inspirational. Your mom is such an inspiration. You are so
Girl, I can't
lucky.
even tell you. I know.
Well, and she is so lucky to have you back, taking care of her. And obviously she's done a stand-up parenting job, sounds like, for both you and your brother. And yeah, I'm just very proud of you. And I'm so excited to see all the things that you are doing. And you guys, hopefully, I'm going to say this prematurely, but we're hoping to partner together going forward.
Absolutely.
With Movecamp. Yay. And have them as a resource too for our community, because I am one of the biggest advocates for fitness and mental health and healthy eating, and obviously Mia even more so. So we'll bring you everything we can. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Beginning of something special, and I'm really looking forward to watching all the work that you do and being a part of it in some small way.
Thank you. I couldn't agree more. I'm so happy to reach out to you and that you've responded.
Yeah, amazing. Always. Thanks,
awesome.
Laura.
Okay, well, I'm going to try to close this in some kind of we're going to put all of the we'll put all of your links and stuff up here too, if you want to do that, or send it to me and I'll do it, just so we get everything up there for people to go find you and follow, and find her on Instagram too, guys, because she is doing a whole lot of stuff on Instagram as well. So Mia St-Aubin, we will write it down. Thanks, Mia.
Thanks, Laura.